All right. Hopefully you all can see that. Okay. So welcome to the College of Pharmacy virtual recruitment meeting. We're going to go over some of the programs that are offered within our college, some information about the Doctor of Pharmacy program, and then just information on how to prepare best for college. Oh, and that's exactly what this slide does. It goes over all of those things. So, going into the degree programs we offer here at the College of Pharmacy, we have two degree programs. One is the Bachelor of Science in Pharmaceutical Sciences, and the other is the Doctor of Pharmacy degree. The bachelor's degree is the degree that all students come in as. So if you are applying to Purdue or you have applied to Purdue, this would be listed as your program of choice when coming into Purdue. And from that degree, students typically take one of two pathways. They either do a 4-year bachelor's degree in pharmaceutical sciences, which is that typical college degree you think of when you think of people going to college, or they do our pre-doctor of pharmacy pathway, where they do 2 years of undergraduate coursework and then apply to the doctor of pharmacy degree during their sophomore year and then get to start that degree during their junior year. So you do 2 years of prerequisites to be prepared to go into the doctor of pharmacy or PharmD program. The PharmD program is a 4-year professional degree program. It has a separate application and a separate interview process. Students who are interested in going into the Doctor of Pharmacy program are typically interested in becoming a licensed pharmacist and working within that field. Students who do the Bachelor of Science Pharmaceutical Science degree typically want to work in pharmaceutical sciences, but not necessarily as a pharmacist. So, ambassadors, can you share a little bit about maybe why you chose, which degree you chose, and why you ended up going for pharmacy?
I can start. Um, I chose pharmacy initially because before I came to college, I wanted to do something biology related, and Purdue Pharmacy, my tour experience with Purdue Pharmacy was awesome. So I chose this program and this school for that reason very much. And I have a strong interest in working in the pharmaceutical industry when I graduate as a PharmD. You don't have to do retail or clinical. I'm more interested in the drug development and research area. And as a PharmD, all the clinical knowledge you learn in pharmacy school is going to come in real handy when you work with scientists who have more experience in the science or even finance or like law. So the PharmD program is really good for the interprofessional collaboration in that field. And as a PharmD, your experience with patients is really valuable when it comes to working in the industry, even though you don't work directly with patients.
Can go next. I would say, so going into pharmacy, I honestly didn't know a lot about it, but since coming to Purdue, I've learned a lot. And one of my favorite things about pharmacy and really why I chose to do the doctor of pharmacy program is because a PharmD can provide you with a lot of different opportunities. Like Yusha was just saying, you can work in a retail pharmacy, like I'm sure many of you automatically think of. You can work in the clinical world, so you can work in a hospital, you can work in like inpatient, work with the healthcare team, you can also do outpatient, you can do more like ambulatory care, which is kind of a special like patient care field, or you can do what you just said and do industry and not really work with patients. So I would say that like just having all of those options with one degree is really kind of what drew me to it.
Yeah, I would agree with everything they said. I kind of chose pharmacy, especially Purdue Pharmacy. I really only knew that I wanted to come to Purdue just because my dad graduated from here, and we kind of grew up being big Purdue fans. So I kind of always knew I wanted to come to Purdue, but I kind of chose pharmacy just because, like they said, it's such a versatile field. There's so many things that you can do with it. You know, you are really one of the only healthcare professionals that knows this degree of knowledge of drugs, and so I just love that aspect. I love the pharmacokinetic side of drugs and just learning how they work in the body. I just think that's super interesting. And I just honestly, the PharmD was really just kind of the only choice in my head, just because if you want to become a pharmacist, that's the degree you'll need. So it was kind of just BSPS wasn't even in my mind.
Thank you all for sharing. So I talked a little bit about those two pathways, and so this is kind of how it lays out. As you're applying to Purdue, you apply to the Bachelor of Science Pharmaceutical Sciences degree program. And then once you get to Purdue, and even as you're talking to your advisor prior to getting to Purdue your freshman year, you'll let them know that you're interested in this pre-doctor of pharmacy pathway and that you plan on applying to the program. Either pathway has very similar courses that have to be taken to get you into those next years after your sophomore year. So even if you aren't sure at first, you can make that decision later, or you can change back kind of within those first 2 years, and you'll be okay and not have to worry about taking a bunch of courses as long as you've stayed on track for the degree courses that are required. The BSPS program, like I said, is a 4-year bachelor's degree program. Um, it's also been a collaboration with the Masters in Public Health, which is new this year. Our PharmD program also has a collaboration with public health, but those details aren't exactly flushed out completely yet. So we are going to highlight mostly the Bachelor's of Science and Masters of Public Health program. So it's referred to as a 4+1 program where you'll do 4 years of a bachelor's degree, and then you'll need an additional 1 year to finish your master's because you'll start taking master's courses during your senior year. The plus side of this program is that in your senior year, you're getting charged undergraduate tuition, where during that master's degree year, you're getting charged the graduate student rate, and the undergraduate rate is a lot less. So it does save you a little bit of money and a little bit of time if you are interested in getting a master's in public health as well as that bachelor's of science, pharmaceutical sciences. And so this just kind of breaks down some of the concentration options and what it looks like your senior year. Your first semester here at Purdue, whether you are interested in the bachelor's degree program or going into the PharmD program, looks like this. You'll have a general chemistry course, Calculus 1, biology, Intro to Pharmaceutical Sciences, a communications elective, and of course, if you're taking any AP or dual credit courses, this might change how or what classes that you're taking in that first semester. So if you take the AP exam for calculus and you get a 4 or 5, odds are you won't have to take this calculus course at Purdue. However, when it comes to something like chemistry, if you were to get that 4 or 5, I think it might be a 5, 4. I don't remember now, but it's on Purdue's website, so you can check that out. And I can send a link at the end of the presentation if anyone's interested in knowing more about those AP scores and what you need to kind of test out of courses. So anyway, even if you get like a score that would mean you don't have to take chemistry, we still typically recommend it. Just because chemistry is a very foundational part of pharmacy, and this course is really helpful in preparing students for it. Ambassadors, can you talk a little bit about your first semester of college and maybe how, if you took AP or dual credit, how those kind of applied and helped or whatnot in your first year?
I can kind of speak on this. I feel like I feel like AP and dual credit courses are super helpful because I know, like, I didn't have to take any calculus, I didn't have to take any speech or any writing classes when I got here, and that was super, super helpful just because I was kind of able to get ahead on some other classes that maybe I would have had to take my second year instead. And so I was able to kind of have balance that course load a little bit more. Also, I kind of have a different insight on the Chem 129. Um, just to let everyone know, I did get a 4 on the AP Chem test, and my previous academic advisor was like, "Yeah, it is recommended, but also, it is a really hard, fast-paced class, so, if you do test out of it, you don't have to take it," and I didn't. Um, and I did have to take that hard class, and honestly, I haven't really felt behind at all chemistry-wise, so just to put a different inside out there. No, nothing against that, you should take it, but yeah.
So I couple things. So I did take Chem 129 here. I did take AP Chem in high school. I just didn't take the exam because I knew that I was going to want to take it in college anyway. But I will say that even with a background in AP chemistry, that class was still very difficult. However, that I think is a good thing because it kind of sets the tone and teaches you how to balance the pretty rigorous coursework that you're going to have to take in the either BSPS or pre-pharmacy curriculum. So I was, in the moment, not grateful, but looking back, I think it really kind of helped me like figure out what to do during my first semester of college. With that, I did take the AP Calc exam, but I didn't get high enough score, so I had to take calculus here. And I will say that if you like, even if you didn't do well in calculus, honestly, I felt so much better about taking calculus my second time around, essentially, because, people have t I heard people tell me that Purdue math was very difficult, but even the 1 year of calculus that I had in high school, like, made that class infinitely easier. So, don't be worried if you have to take that. And, similar to what she said, I did not have to take the, like, writing SCLA or language arts kind of class, because of my AP exam scores.
I don't have much to add on that. I agree what the previous two people said. Everybody's classes are gonna look slightly different. And yeah, I think I am grateful that I think during my first semester I found some really good people to study with, including Ashley. We definitely study for Chem 129 for many, many hours. Um I would say Chem 129 is a beast. Um but it is because it's a 5 credit classes, meaning that this class has 3 lectures a week, one recitation, which is just like a smaller group. It is a class, it's a smaller group of students, and you go and do problem solving. I'm actually a TA for this class now. And then you have a lab that is 3 hours long every week. But it is really helpful because after one semester of this lab, you build yourself very good habits in handling wet labs, and that goes on because you have to do 2 semesters of organic chemistry right after, and that's all wet labs, and it's the same duration as well. So you build that stamina of like standing around, focusing for 3 hours, um, going in prepared, being able to handle chemicals and handle it safely and get your desired result out. That is really important. And it even goes on if you want to do some undergraduate research later. Yeah. And for the other classes, I would say pretty good experience overall. The professors here are generally very nice.
Thank you all. And they have said this, but Chem 129 is it's a lot. It's 5 credit hours. It's the most credit hours you'll take for a course in those first 2 years. But Purdue has 1,000,001 resources. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but they'll have supplemental information sessions that you can go to learn more. You'll have teaching assistants, TAs like Huja, who will be there to help you through everything. And then we also have like an academic success center. And this isn't just for Chem 129. There are lots of classes that have these resources to help you through because it is hard work. But we want people to succeed, so we provide them with the resources that they need. Oh, here's more AP class information, and we already went over this, so we're just going to keep going. And look, there's the website if you are interested in looking that up. All right, so Doctor of Pharmacy admissions process, we like to talk about this during our presentations because a majority of our students who come into the College of Pharmacy here at Purdue will end up applying to and ultimately going into the Doctor of Pharmacy program. And since that turnaround for starting the program is so quick into your college career, we want to make sure that you're aware of kind of what to expect in those first 2 years and through that application process. So the Doctor of Pharmacy program is a professional program. It's a 4-year program. 3 of those years are spent here at Purdue taking courses, and then the last year is spent doing what we refer to as rotations, where you go and you work as a pharmacist and work with pharmacists doing on the ground work. So you get that experience prior to graduating. And then there are specific types of pharmacy that you get to work in to learn more about that specific field as well. For this application process, we offer students our PHSC 200 course, which is Intro to Pharmacy and the Admissions Process. And it walks students through how to apply to the PharmD program through PharmCAS, which is it's similar to like Common App, but for pharmacy school. And so that course will walk students through how to apply, review your personal statement, all of the things that you put into your application to make sure that you are successful and that you have done all that you can to make your application strong. In 2025, we had around 250 people who were invited to come interview with us. Around 200 did actually interview. But before that, we had around 350 applicants. And usually the reason why people do not get an interview is because they don't meet our prerequisites, which I will have on a slide here soon. And that's how we determine who to interview. We need you to meet our prerequisites to be able to interview. All of our College of Pharmacy students do all of the coursework that they need to. As long as you are doing your academics, your academic advisor will help to make sure that you're in the classes you need to be in to meet those prerequisites. So we do our best to make sure that our students are prepared to apply and prepared to be successful in that process. The ideal PharmD candidate will have all of the things listed here in their application. And so this is a lot of the reason why we like to talk about this when you're thinking about coming to college, because these are some things that you can get done during your junior and senior year and still use on your application later. So communication skills and the 2 letters of evaluation are probably the ones that don't exactly meet because you'll have more communication courses going forward and you'll have those 2 letters of evaluation not be written until you're actually applying. But the other things on here are things that you can start now. So if you have the opportunity to interview or talk to a pharmacist, we really recommend that so you can learn more about the field. If you are involved in extracurriculars right now in high school, those are things that you should start writing down and making notes about so that you can use them later on your application. Academic performance is also a big part of it. You do have to have good grades and be in good academic standing to be able to go into the Doctor of Pharmacy program. And then employment experience is also incredibly helpful because we want well-rounded candidates in the program. So we want you to have all of the experiences. But you have time to figure this out. And again, we'll have resources at Purdue to help students get those experiences. Ambassadors, do you want to talk a little bit about maybe what you did to prepare for the PharmD program and applying?
As I said, I am interested in the industrial pharmacy side of pharmacy. During my two pre-professional years, I interviewed some pharmacists, PharmDs, who are currently working for pharmaceutical companies. I conducted around 3 or 4 online interviews. And then my freshman year summer, I was able to do a 3-day long shadowing experience in person in one of the companies. And they actually asked me about that experience during my interview. So I guess that was interesting enough of an experience.
Um, I regarding like the employment experience, I worked as a pharmacy tech for really only about 3 months before I applied to pharmacy school. Started there the summer before my sophomore year, so again, right before I applied. Um, and that kind of helped me get familiar with obviously how pharmacy works. But I will say that plenty of people go into pharmacy school without having a pharmacy job. Again, it's just important that you do take steps to try and learn about pharmacy because oftentimes, like interviewing pharmacists or shadowing, that will give you maybe even a better perspective than just working as a technician because you get to actually hear from a pharmacist instead of just like watching them be busy at a retail pharmacy. Um, but again, just the importance of the employment experience, I think, is to show that you are like dependable and responsible and can work with others outside of an academic setting because it's definitely a little bit different.
Yeah, I would say, like, thinking about these steps now is super helpful and also super it's, like, makes you less stressed when the time comes to apply because you know that you have these things. But I would also say not to compare yourself to others that, like Ashley said, I know people in our class who have never worked in a pharmacy before, and that's totally fine. I started working at Walgreens, this summer between my senior year of high school and then, freshman year, so that was really cool. And I worked there the past, like, 2 years. I also have interviewed, like an emergency medicine pharmacist and also like an ambulatory care pharmacist. So if you know someone who works in a hospital, they could more than likely connect you and you can just do like a Zoom meeting with them or go meet with the pharmacist and really just ask them about their job, what they like, what they don't like, and just what they do on a daily basis. And you can count that is an interview. Yeah, and then you can go honestly, you could probably walk up to your community pharmacy and ask if you could shadow or how you can start maybe working there. But yeah, I think just thinking about this now is just super helpful, just so that you're aware of kind of the aspects that the College of Pharmacy is looking for.
Alrighty. So here is that list of courses you'll be taking and kind of what you need to do to get the interview and how um, our courses are laid out is it includes all of these courses in the first 2 years. So you'll get them done before applying to PharmD and hopefully getting admitted. Priority admissions guarantees an interview. So as long as you meet all of the criteria listed here, you will have an interview, but ultimately decisions are made by the admissions committee. So that's kind of what to look for as you're going into your first couple of years. You want to make sure you get good grades, C minus or better in any of the courses that are listed here and just get ready to do a lot of science in those first 2 years. So why Purdue Pharmacy? So what sets us apart? We do have that 2+4 program. So 2 years of undergraduate coursework, and then you get to go right into that 4-year professional degree if you are interested in doing the PharmD. Additionally, with that, you do not get a bachelor's degree. If you do that 2+4, you only get the Doctor of Pharmacy degree. But if your goal is to be a licensed pharmacist, that's the degree you need to be able to become that. We do have that partnership with our Masters of Public Health, which is a plus for both PharmD and for our bachelor's degree program. And both of them integrate the Masters of Public Health into the curriculum. So for our bachelor's degree students, they'll start taking courses senior year. For our PharmD students, the program is set up so that they can complete both the master's and the PharmD all within the 3 years that they're here taking courses. And there will be more information on that as the program is more developed and up and running. We are top 10 affordable PharmD program coming to Purdue, whether it's for undergrad or for this Doctor of Pharmacy program. It is an affordable campus to come to. It is an affordable degree to earn. And it's in Indiana, which is typically a cheaper place to live than like a large city, right? Um, we have a nuclear pharmacy program as well. We're one of very few schools that offer this program, and it sets students up to take an exam at the end of that time or end of their degree to be a nuclear or to be in nuclear pharmacy. On site here at Purdue, there is a student-run pharmacy. So all first-year professional students will work in that pharmacy as one of their courses as a requirement. So you get to learn that process of working in a community or retail pharmacy setting. Just like you would see at Walgreens or CVS, you would be behind the counter doing those things. There are many, many experiences for pharmacy when it comes to doing those in-person pharmacy experiences, whether that's rotations or they're similar to like an internship, but also not because it's pharmacy, so it looks a little bit different. Um, and then we have anywhere between 25 and 30 student organizations. So if there's any specialty of pharmacy that you are interested in going into, odds are we have a club for it and you can be a part of that. For our students who are interested in the Doctor of Pharmacy program, we also offer the Pre-Pharm Club, and they also do things to get you ready to go into the PharmD program and apply for the doctorate program. Another exciting thing is that we do have a new building coming soon. It will open in January of 2027. So we're pretty excited about that. The current College of Pharmacy building where on-campus pharmacy is run out of is older, it's smaller, and our new building will be shared with the College of Nursing and have more opportunities for places to study, to have class, and maybe to collaborate. And so here are some of those photos. Ambassadors, do you want to talk at all about your experience working in the pharmacy or anything else I mentioned on the previous slide?
Can
I
you
can talk
repeat the
about
question?
working in the
Sorry.
pharmacy. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna ask to repeat the question. Are we talking about general employment experience or just particularly like working in a retail pharmacy?
Ooh, anything on this slide?
Oh,
I can go ahead and talking about working in our pharmacy. So we have a Purdue University pharmacy in our pharmacy building on campus. We call it PUP. So it is an 8-week class, so it's only half a semester. But what we do is you work in the pharmacy 3 hours a week, and then we also have a recitation every Friday. So in the pharmacy we have three kind of stations that we'll rotate through. So one station is like actually processing prescriptions, which means that when they come through like the doctor's office or wherever, we actually type them up and just double check that like everything's correct. The second station is like actually filling the prescription, so you'll actually count out the pills, put them in the bags, and you'll actually practice counseling on that specific patient and that specific drug with one of the teaching assistants in that class. And then the third station is actually being upfront at the register and counseling patients. So you will up front, you will have a fourth year professional student who is on those rotations that Kane's talked about. They will help you counsel patients and give you all the drug information that you need. And then your recitation, we just kind of go through slides, like we go through patient counseling or day supply, all that good stuff. And we'll also have med lists every week that we get quizzed on during that recitation. So it's a really awesome class that I'm pretty sure is pretty Purdue specific, where you actually do get that experience in a retail pharmacy and you are learning about those. I think we do the top 90 common meds during that 8 weeks. So it is a super awesome, super helpful way to kind of get you started on that track and also help you learn about more common meds before you actually take therapeutics, which is like our big 5 semester class. So yeah, it's really cool.
I can actually talk a little bit about the upcoming partnership with the Masters in Public Health because I am interested in pursuing that. So our class, since we're all first year professional students, we're the class of 2029. So we are the first class that this is being offered to. And as Kaden said, they are still ironing out some details because it's not an easy process, but essentially what that means for us is that we will take it. So once you're in the pharmacy program, you're expected to complete a certain number of elective hours. And essentially, every semester from now on, my elective credits will just be going, or they will be counted for the Masters of Public Health because I'll have to take one more class each semester. Um, and yeah, the reason I want to pursue the Masters in Public Health is because I am interested in a more of a patient-centered role. I enjoy talking to patients and, learning like what motivates them to take their medications and things like that. And I think that doing the Masters in Public Health will just give me a more broad understanding of just how public health works and the social determinants of health that kind of impact people in their medication taking behaviors. So I'm really excited about this. The only reason I considered applying to other pharmacy schools was because they offered the Masters of Public Health with the PharmD. But now that Purdue is doing it, it's my like top. I couldn't ask for anything better. So, like I said, I'm sure by the time if you're a junior or a senior, they will have ironed out some more specific details. Um, but yeah, if you have any specific questions about that, I can answer like some of them.
Thank you, Ashley, for the Masters of Public Health information. Yeah, I'm glad that Ashley and I are interested in the vastly different sides of pharmacy because then we tell each other about different things. I can talk a little bit about student organizations at Purdue Pharmacy. We have a lot, so many. I believe we have, oh yeah, it says that we have 25. Something nice about the student organizations is that um there is something for everyone. I am in a club called Industry Pharmacists Organization, and people in that group, um, it's just that everybody's interested in the very similar things, so that really bring each other together. And I've received a lot of good advice from older students, which is always very valuable. And it's nice that there are so many student organizations for a small college like us because you can be in multiple at the same time if you want. You can really focus on one if you want. And my experience is it's never too late to try new ones. My freshman year, I joined a few, and then I stuck with one of them, and I didn't stick with the other ones, and that is okay. So I think you are really going to make some good friends through those organizations, and you will get to know the people in your class and older students really quickly in our college.
Thank
Um,
you.
is
Mhm.
it okay if I answer the question in the chat just out loud in case other people were? So someone asked about doing a minor while in the PharmD program. You can definitely do that. I was pursuing a minor while I was like a minor degree while I was in the undergrad program. It does like work a little bit differently in the sense of when you get admitted into the professional program, you will have to like re-add the minor to your course or to your transcript. But that doesn't mean that if you took 2 classes, those classes still count, even if you took them during undergrad. And plenty of people have like that I know of have done minors and just kind of a nice way to like have something outside of pharmacy or to supplement what you are learning about in pharmacy.
Thank you. Yes, and those minors can also be used to fill some of those elective hours that Ashley was talking about earlier. All right, so preparing for college. So as you prepare for college, you'll want to know all of the deadlines to get things done by. I highly recommend applying by November 1st. That's the early action deadline. It's also the deadline if you're interested in the honors college, and it means that you'll get your decision around January 15th. Um, Also, submit any dual credit or AP courses that you have taken, regardless of if they are going to come in and cover specific courses that are required for your degree, or if they're just going to come in as college credit. All of that will be helpful as you're moving through your time in college. And then lastly, you'll need to be prepared to take that chemistry and calculus course we talked about earlier in your first semester. And so listed here are those scores that you'll need for the math portion of the SAT and the ACT. If you don't have those scores, don't worry too much about it. You're also able to take our math placement exam, which is called the ALEX. And you can actually take that a few times, and it is free. It does not cost Purdue students anything to take the exam, and then you can still get placed into your chemistry or your calculus course as long as you get a 75 on that. Nope. I have one more question for our ambassadors here. Is there any advice that you have for students as they're applying to college and maybe making that decision of what they want to study?
I would say that if you have any inclination to try out pharmacy, you should definitely do it. Like I said, when I was applying to college, essentially all I knew about pharmacy was how like a retail, well, I didn't even know how a retail pharmacy works, but I knew what a retail pharmacy was, and I was thinking that I wanted a career in healthcare. And so by coming to Purdue and all of the opportunities that I've had through both the university as a whole and the College of Pharmacy, I was able to really realize that pharmacy will provide me with a really fulfilling career. Um, and yeah, I think it was a really good choice for someone who didn't really know much about it.
Just kind of go off what Ashley said. I would just kind of say, honestly, just like follow your heart, follow your intentions. You can definitely, obviously, change your major at any time. Um, yeah, I would just say keep an open mind, trust the process, don't compare yourself to others when applying to college or the actual pharmacy school. Um, Everyone's on their own time, everyone's working on their own path. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the previous two people. I think I have had a really good experience with Purdue Pharmacy. I feel like I decided to do pharmacy also not knowing much, especially about the curriculum. Like right now, we're learning way more clinical things than I thought we would. Like we're learning about how to take blood pressure, we're practicing on fellow students, but it overall has been like a better and better experience. Yeah.
Alrighty. So with that, that's the end of our formal presentation. We'll have time here to ask any questions. I'll stop sharing my screen and you can come off mic if you would like. But also we have this email listed here, farmlife@purdue.edu, that after today, if you have any questions, you can send your questions to that email. I'm the one who checks that email, so I'll make sure your question gets answered, or I'll direct you to the place that can answer your question. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm also going to stop the recording so that you can ask any questions you have.